Hi everyone, it's Hope Yoder with Embellish Maker, and I'm at an event in Colorado and a customer asked me how to create a quilting background around a design. Now you can easily do this with CraftNCut software if you have that installed by using the outline feature, and we've made a video with a cat and snowflake showing you how to do that. So let me show you how to do this without having CraftNCut software. So I have created a new page by going under File and New, and then I use this icon to open a design, and I'm using the Wine With Me embroidery collection from Designs by Hope Yoder, and the design is about 6.8 inches by about 2 inches high. So I have a design, and this could be any design. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Oops. Let me zoom out, and I'm going to kind of bring the design over here just to get it in the middle of the screen. All right, and now in order to quilt, let's say we wanted to do a 8-inch, well, let's just do a 10-inch quilt block, right? You have a big machine and a big hoop. So right now this feature is not automated, but it's certainly something we're looking into as a future free update. But right now it's so easy. First of all, you're going to need a quilt block square. So under your design tab, you can select this, and if you hold down Control on your keyboard, then you can just drag a box however big you want it for your quilt square. And by holding Control down on the keyboard, then this lets you keep it square. If you didn't do that, then you can go under Properties and you can deselect Maintain Aspect Ratio and make it whatever size you want. And I'm going to do about, let's just do this at a 9-inch square. So if I have a hoop, that's going to allow me to do that. Well, actually I have a hoop big enough, so you know what, I'm just going to leave it like that. So now I want to center this design, which I did group, into the block. And let's just look at the sequence window. So I've got a block here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change that to a different color, and we can just go ahead and close these, and you can see I have a box that's left, and I can use a keyboard shortcut, which is Control and the letter A for all. And then I'm going to go under my Align tab and use the center icon. All right, perfect. I have that done. And now what I want to do is now I need to create, I'm going to right click to close that up. Now I need to create a border around the design. Now I can do this a couple different ways, and I'm going to still be working inside of this design tab. So I could easily select an ellipse and just draw a shape, and that's not too bad. And I'm going to select Control and the letter A again to select everything and to center everything. So right now what we're looking at is I would stipple or do a motif quilt everywhere except for inside of that oval. All right, but I think instead of doing that, I'm going to just trace around the design. Let's do this first. All right, so I'm going to come over into my properties. I'm going to collapse all, and when I open these last two, I have a square and I have an oval. Now I need to join these together so they're one item, because if I don't, let me show you what will happen. I can come over here and I can select a motif fill, and you can see the little hourglass. That means don't touch me. I am working. And as it's generating and creating stitches, what's going to happen is you're going to just get this mass of solid fill stitch. And so if I want to go down here under to pattern size, let's just put in 20 instead of 2 and apply. And you can see that I've kind of got a mess here. It's going to quilt over my design. So if I go ahead and undo all of this, and now I create these two together, All right, I need to join them so the oval is inside of the square. And to do that, I'm going to go under the transform icon and I'm going to join these two together, and I want you to look at the right side of my screen what happens. Now when I convert this to let's just do a stipple, auto stipple, and it could be the motif fill, which gives you a pretty pentagram look. And again, while the hourglass is spinning, don't click anywhere, and check it out, I've got a stipple. So again, for this, instead of doing the pattern size, we're going to change the density, and let's just say see what happens if I do a 10, and that makes my stippling further apart. Now I'm not really loving the way that looks because I've got a big space in there. So let's, instead of using an ellipse, let's undo all of this, and I'm going to come back to my properties window, and I'm just going to get rid of that ellipse, and I'm going to close. Well, actually we'll open the design tab again, and now I'm going to actually just use the straight line tool. All right, I'm going to left click, and I don't have to be real precise. I can just click anywhere. I don't even need to worry about holding down control to make a curved line. I'm just clicking, and actually this is so easy. I'm not even using a mouse to record this video. I'm just clicking any which way but loose. Get it? Any which way but loose. Okay, sorry, it's late at night. I've been teaching for several days. My jokes probably are not funny anymore, but I'm going to come right up here, and when I'm done, I'm going to right click to actually create that line. And now you can see this very ugly little line in here, and that's good enough. Now I'm going to select both of these, and again, I'm going to come down to transform. I'm going to scroll down so I can find join. I'm going to close the design tab here, and now I'm going to join these, and on the right side in the sequence, notice what happens. It kind of joins them together. Now if I want to stitch around the design, I'm going to copy and paste this. So let's just go ahead and copy it, and I can use the copy and the paste. And when I do that, you can see I have two of them. So I'm just going to take, actually, let's just take this first one. Now here's a question I get asked all the time. Are these stitches or is it artwork? And if you expand that, meaning here you can't really tell, but if I click on the plus mark over under the stitches tab, I see that it's 0. So I know this is artwork. And for instance, if I just open this, under the stitches column, I see there's 307, so that means it's an embroidery stitch file, or it's actually stitches. Here it's just begging to be converted to stitches because it's just artwork. So I'm going to select the first one, and now that I've joined those together, I'm going to come under, let's just do the stipple and see what happens. And it's going to be a very tight stipple, so no problem, I can change that in the properties window. And again, when you see a spinning wheel or an hourglass, do not click anywhere. All right, just let the computer generate the stitches. Now that's not a super attractive stipple, so let's come in here and see what happens when we change the density to 6 and then press apply. Now we're getting a little bit better here. I still think that's kind of tight, so let's go to 7 and apply, and that's looking pretty good. Now let's kind of come back over here. I still have this one that's artwork, and let me just show you with the slow redraw, and I'll just kind of fast forward here, and it does all the stippling, and if I want this to kind of echo quilt around, then this is what I'm going to do. I can select this, and now I can come in here and do a run stitch, and then it's actually going to do a run stitch around there. Now let's just change this. Now let's say I don't really like the way that looks, because honestly I'm not crazy about it, but maybe I wanted to do cross stitch. Check this out. So cross stitch is very tiny, but in the properties window I can make a quick change. So if we unclick on 3D, you can see that. Let's just go back to 3D, and if I go into properties window, I can change from the size to 2. Let's just see what 20 is. Why not? I don't have to stitch it out if I don't like it. So I'm going to put 20 in the size and apply. And now I have a really cool cross stitch pattern. I'm going to undo that. Or I don't even have to undo it, you guys. What's amazing is I can click on it and I'm going to come under the sequence view so I can see it better. And let's try the motif fill. And under the motif fill, again, it is working and generating, so my job is not to touch anything. I'm going to take my hands off of my mouse. So it's done its magic. It doesn't look really amazing right now because it's so tight. So I'm going to come down to something that says motif pattern size, and let's just change that to see what 20 looks like, and then I'm going to apply it. And hey, now I like that. So I think that's still too close. Let's go to 30. Oops, that's 2030. That's not gonna be nice. All right, I'm gonna go to 30. Love it. I am thinking I'm gonna keep going till I see what I like. 40. Hey, I think I can go 50. What do you guys think? Since I can't hear you, I'm going to think that you are thinking that is amazing. All right, 50. And I could just keep playing with that, but I could be here all night. This is the fun part. The stitch length is 2.5. That's going to be great. And when I click off, you can see that I have this design. And right now, I do have the outline stitch around it. So this is how you can quilt around a design. You need to open the design, create a box, which would be your quilt square, and then you need to create a container around the shape, however you do it, and then you can just join them by going to under transform. So if you're watching this video, thank you for that. Let me do a new page, and just to show you something that we have in the software. This is a one-click wonder, and you know, I'm going to open the Create tab, and I'm going to do my 3D fabric decorator, and I just love matchstick quilting. And so I'm going to change this to inches, and I'm going to go back to, let's just say 10 again, and 10. And you know what, those are really close together. So let's just see what the density is at 5, and then I'm going to select Enter on my keyboard. That's it didn't go to 5, so it's just kind of got that little blonde safety factor here. So I'm going to come down to about 1, and if I click OK, I'm out of the screen. So I don't want to click OK yet. I want to select Enter on my keyboard. And when I do that, let me de-highlight that, deselect it, and let's see what happens when I select Enter or Tab on your keyboard. You know what? I think that kind of looks cool. Now, this would do channel quilting. Now, honestly, I'm not a purist in quilting. I'm more of a millennial point of view, even though I'm really nowhere close to millennial. I'm a crafter. And why am I a crafter? Because I can do it my way. And I honestly don't care if there's quilting underneath my embroidery design. I'm not going to worry about that. So I'd rather just create this really fun texture here with this matchstick quilting. But I really just love this simple quilting. So if I select offset run, that's going to give me about 1/4 inch, and then that includes the placement line and tack down. That's going to give me so I can put my fabric and my batting. So let's do that. And now when I select OK, I'm out of the screen and it generates the stitches. If I don't like what I make, then I just go back into this little 3D fabric texture tool. So I'm going to select OK. And over here in the let's do the slow redraw. And so now I'm going to stitch my placement line, and at this point I'm going to then lay down. I'm going to do this on stabilizer only, and I would use Embellish soft cutaway, and then I'm going to lay our Angel Loft bamboo batting and my cotton fabric. The cotton fabric is on top, the batting is touching the stabilizer, and this is the tack down. And then I'm going to go in here and do all of my quilting. All right, and then what I would do is I would go into here and I would actually just merge a stitch file, which means I'm going to go back into my desktop and I'm going to find my little wine design, and I put it in this little folder here. There's my design. Notice, do not check convert to outlines. I don't want to destroy the design or break it apart, but I am going to group it by selecting it, right click, and it's already grouped, yay. So when I bring it in here, you guys, here we go, and it's not centered yet. So I'm going to select Control and the letter A. I'm going to go under my Align tab, and I'm going to center it. And then let's click on 3D. And now I have my quilt sandwich. Now if I don't like all of this, let's see here. Let me collapse this all, move my mouse, and I'm going to just change all three of these here and select them. And let's see what happens if I can resize this, and I'm pretty sure I can, because you know what, that looks a little bit big. So now let me select them all, and it's going to recalculate the stitches. And you guys, there I have my quilt block, and yes, I actually have the quilting behind the wine design, and that's okay with me because it's much easier, and I just really love doing this. I don't necessarily need to echo quilt around a design, but that's your choice. Now you know how to do both, and I'm sure there's opportunities to do both depending on what your project is. But I hope this helps you guys. So you can create a box and join it, or you can use our 3D auto texture tool found inside of the Create drawer. Until next time, happy embellishing.